Well, hello, beautiful, and welcome to the Gifted Table. I am your excited and your delighted host, Dr. Melanie Harris. If you're not already a subscriber to the Gifted Table, please be sure to click on my logo and subscribe. And after you hear this amazing talk today, this girl talk, this table talk, be sure to share this out and have your friends to subscribe to the Gifted Table. Today, I am so excited to have this beautiful queen on the table. She is pulling her chair up real close. So please make sure you're scooting up real close. We are going to have a girl conversation, a ladies' lounge today, if you will, with the one and only Dr. Alysha Thomas. Welcome to the table, sis. Welcome to the table.
Hello, hello. Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
You are one of the most youngest, powerful women that I know personally. I adore watching your journey. I adore just hearing the trajectory of what you do. And I just want you just to briefly tell the people here at the table, what is your background and what profession are you working in, my dear?
Wow, such a wonderful introduction and compliment. So thank you very much. I am currently a licensed marriage and family therapist. I've been practicing for about 8 years now, and I got a bachelor's degree in psychology from the Morgan State University. Shout out to HBCUs.
Right now.
And then I went on to get a master's degree and a doctorate degree in marriage and family therapy.
Dr. Alysha Thomas.
Yes.
I'm so proud. I am so super proud of you. Now, what was it about going into this field that drew you in?
Yeah, honestly, I saw a need for my community, the Black community, and communities of color to just have a space to talk about what's going on in their lives. I am a child of divorce. My parents got divorced when I was about 4 years old. And I have 2 older brothers. And at the time, none of us really knew what was really going on. Looking back, I realized I could have had an outlet to talk to somebody about things going on. But, the stigma in Black community about not sharing your business with outside people, pray about it, go to church and handle your business in that way. And no disrespect to that method, right?
Yes.
The Lord works in mysterious ways.
He's going to carry you through.
He's going to carry us through. So I get it. Right. I'm not saying that that's not a great resource for support when you're going through something hard. Mm-hmm. But also, when I learned about therapy in high school and college, I was like, oh, you could talk to somebody about your feelings and somebody's just going to listen, kind of validate you, not give you any judgment or things like that. So I was like, that sounds cool. Kind of looked into it and was like, I don't see very many Black people, though, or people that look like me. And so I really decided I want to be one of those people that looks like me so I can give back to others that need that service, that could just use that outlet.
And I can't imagine similar story. My parents, they actually, from what I understand, learning history, because everything was, but I think I was like maybe 3 or 4 when they separated, but it took them a little bit longer to divorce, but I just remember not living with both parents since I was young. And it does, it calls you as a young person, especially when you're in elementary school, and you see families like mothers and fathers coming, together to events or to your back to school night or what have you. And one may come, they both may come, but they don't come together. How did growing up, and were you ever in a space where you felt like you wanted to talk to someone about just your feelings or whatever it was, but you just didn't have that space to do so?
There were a few times. Yeah. I remember one of the earliest memories I have of my parents going through that divorce is, as you're sharing about splitting households, essentially. And I remember being confused. Why am I leaving my mom to go see my dad? Those things don't make sense to me. I'm not sure. Who do I ask these questions to and how do I get these answers? There are other times, maybe I was a little older, having some challenges with my identity and just figuring out who am I and where do I belong? And again, having this split sense of, am I here? Am I there? Who are my friends? What should I be doing? What interests should I have? And it would have been great to have somebody to process those things with. It's not to say they weren't available in my family, but it didn't seem like a safe space to do so. How Black families talk. We're going to share things with everybody. And so I don't want my business being told, even though they could have possibly been helpful.
You're right. There has been a stigma in the Black community for years about any form of therapy, right? But I see people coming around to it now and being more open. What is the clientele that you're serving right now? Who do you see the most?
I am working in private practice for myself, the Empowerment Clinic with Dr. Alysha.
I'm sorry, can you say that one more again? Can you say it again for the people in the back row in case they did not hear?
Yes, it is the Empowerment Clinic with Dr. Alysha as a wellness speaker as well as a therapist. My population right now, gratefully, is majority Black people. I'm really excited. I'm advertising in all spaces. I'm willing to see all populations. Anybody that needs help, I'm wanting to help you. But my specialty and my interest is in the Black community because I know that's something that we need the most. I do work with adults. I work with individuals as well as couples and some families, but I don't work with children at this time. I think that early intervention is very important. It's just not my style, not my area.
What are you finding with these adults that you're speaking with, some common trends? Because for myself, just talking from a personal, because we can be transparent here at the table, right? That's the T in GiftEd, being transparent. So I didn't start going to therapy, and it's been a minute. I need to find a new therapist until 2015, when I was going through a very rough time dealing with going through a divorce or deciding if I was going to get divorced and what was happening. And I was of a mindset, you kind of self-doubt. Mm-hmm. What did I do? Was I not good enough? What could I have done differently? And just being in that space, sharing it with someone who was totally objective, didn't know anyone I knew, but just being bold enough to say, I need to talk to someone. What are some of the adult issues that you find trending that you're mostly speaking to your clients?
I would say a lot of it is similar to what you're sharing. Just working on this sense of identity and your place in this world. I think a lot of people are coming to heal inner parts of their childhood, inner parts of themselves, the patterns that we learn at an early age that kind of set our foundation for who we are and how we think and what we believe about ourselves and the world that we're living in. But as we know, the world is constantly changing around us. Our understanding of the world is changing around us. And so a lot of people are coming in to be in this space of reflection. I named my clinic, my practice, the Empowerment Clinic, because I want people to be self-aware and feel empowered about whatever it is they're going through in their lives, to know that you can overcome those challenges. You are not defined by your past, but you get to define yourself for your future. If that means taking parts of your past with you because it's meaningful to you, let's do that. But we don't have to carry all of those pieces. And so a large theme that I'm seeing is healing themselves and just trying to be empowered, wanting to feel heard, wanting to make decisions that they feel comfortable with instead of being, encouraged by external factors that maybe they don't always agree with or agree with their values.
And it's so interesting that you said that, because even through my own personal journey, I began to identify things early childhood that has had a super, super impact on me as an adult. Mm-hmm. So again, being, having parents in two different households and the weekends coming, hoping to see your dad doesn't show up. So then you start to have this sense of trusting people at their words, trusting men at their words, if they're going to do what they say they're going to do, and how that has affected, like relationships, because you said you were coming. Right. Why didn't you said you was going to do such and such, why you didn't do it? But it comes from that sense of being that child who got dressed, put on your best outfit because you knew daddy was coming to pick you up for the weekend. And then he never shows, that sense of disappointment and things like that. But again, how that really groomed, who I was as a woman and in relationships and working through that. That's the key part. But working through that, identifying it, working through it, and replacing that with a different behavior.
Yes. Yes. Thank you for sharing, for being transparent about that. And I think that's a really important factor in us destigmatizing mental health is being able to talk about what we've been through, because there's a lot more similarities in our experiences than some of us want to believe. That's not necessarily a good thing, right? I don't want us to all have this shared trauma experience, but talking about it helps us feel seen and knows that we're not alone in going through that. And if someone else can work through it, then you can as well. You can have support and resources and community, right, to work through it.
Community is so key, so key. As you've been going through your journey, what have been some challenges you faced, either as a young woman in your field, as a woman of color in your field, just with so many intersectionalities? Can you speak on that?
Yes, I would probably say the biggest challenge I faced is this perception of lack of like experience or knowledge. I'm a proud 33-year-old woman. I'm turning 34 this year, but I also recognize that my appearance doesn't always match my age, right? Some people think that I'm still in my earlier mid 20s, right? And that's me now. So imagine a few years ago when I was first starting out, how I looked.
I was like, get this baby out of here.
Exactly. They're like, you don't know nothing. You ain't been through life. You ain't married. You ain't got no experience. Like, you don't know nothing.
How you going to talk to me about my experience?
You can't relate to me.
You're only 22.
I'm like, I mean, yes, those things are true, but we all have to start somewhere, right? We all need to get our experience from somewhere. And just because I haven't lived it myself doesn't mean I haven't learned from other people what they've shared with me, what I've learned in school, and just being observant. And I'm really honest about that, right? I'm like, I don't have all the answers. I don't want to have all the answers. I want you to get the answers for yourself. But I think sometimes that's challenging because people come and they're like, okay, so tell me what to do. And I'm very honest. I am not here to tell you what to do. I'm here to help you be empowered and make decisions for yourself. And I think that's also been a challenge because some people want me to tell them what to do. And I'm like, that's not how I work in therapy. That's not it. Because I don't want you to be reliant on me. I want you to graduate eventually. You can come back if you're looking for more support, but don't rely on me to make those decisions for you. I want you to be empowered and make them yourself.
I want a therapy diploma.
It's a great day to graduate from therapy.
To graduate. But the thing is, there's always something,
Yes.
you know, and I've learned that people in your profession become a very safe space for people, very safe space. What are some things that you hope communities of color will start to understand so they can identify if they have a need or if someone they know has a need?
I really want this message to spread that going to mental health or having a mental health condition is not, it's not a bad thing. It's not a negative label. It's not like a death sentence. I want people to really understand that it's just another condition like we could possibly have in any other area of our body or any other health condition that we could be experiencing. A lot of the people that I'll see in therapy are the outliers in their family. Yep, I'm here, but I'll ask them, do you know anyone in your family that has mental health? And they're like, we're not talking about it. It's probably undiagnosed or people don't believe in that, but I think it's there. But people don't want to share. People don't want to get help. And so I'm seeing a lot of like first generation clients in therapy, breaking the patterns for their own family and their own generations. So I would want people to share more and more with their own families about what's going on and just have that conversation to make it less scary and less unknown because it's just a part of health. It should be the same level as physical health.
That is so powerful. Mental health should be at the same level of your physical health, yes. Right? You don't want to be physically bulimic, so why would you want to be mentally bulimic? Right? Nourish your body and nourish your mind, or have a mindset that needs to change. Because sometimes I think it's those fixed mindsets that become the tools that create barriers instead of liberation for people in therapy. What are some misconceptions that you would like to share about therapy that you may hear that you're like, now let me tell you the truth, honey?
Yes. Ooh, that's a good one. Misconceptions, are probably like that there's no safety, right? There's no trust that if I share, you're going to tell all my business, I'm going to get in trouble and X, Y, and Z. That's not true. I have a legal obligation to hold your confidentiality. Unless you're talking about hurting yourself or hurting other people, that's something different, right? Becomes a safety issue. But otherwise, I can't share. You could come to therapy and tell me that you hurt somebody 5 minutes before you got there. I can't do anything about that. Sad to say, but that's a misconception that you're going to come in here and disclose things and now your information becomes public. I think another misconception is that you're going to be labeled as a crazy person. You're going to get sent to the hospital. And that's not the case. We want to talk about things before it gets to that level. When you're talking about being kind of too rigid in some of your ways, I think that's what breeds people to feel like there's not an opportunity for change. So why bother? But the reality is, like, it's not an all or nothing type of experience. Just because you're behaving in these ways doesn't necessarily mean that you are that person. You might just be a symptom of another problem that you're having.
I believe that as well. It's like, don't you go over there and tell your business to that person. Better go to the pastor, like you said earlier. Many people don't realize pastors are in therapy too.
Right? Yes, they are. Because that's the thing. I believe in God. And I think that God is the creator, the healer in my life, and I'm following him. And I think that it's very possible to be in therapy and believe in therapy and also have this belief in God, because I believe that God designed me to help other people. I'm not one, I'm not the only one, but I'm one of God's people that is here to serve.
When I think of like marriage, because marriage and family therapist, right? When I think of marriage, I often, and again, this could be my experiences with myself, people I know, or what have you. It seems that before people get married, they go to counseling, right? You have marriage counseling, be it at your church or wherever you go to marriage counseling. And then you're in your marriage. What are your thoughts about having marital therapy throughout the process, your marriage, and not just at the beginning or when trouble starts to come or you start to have these situations that could be trying on your marriage? What are your thoughts about that?
Yes, I love this question. I think it's very important to have those kinds of check-ins more often than not. Going back to my comparison earlier that mental health should be treated on the same level as physical health. We're told to have a physical checkup, once a year? We get a dental cleaning twice a year. Every year that we're doing these things for our physical health. Why are we not doing the same thing for our mental health? To have these check-ins, to be preventative, to be proactive, to talk about what's going on before we're too set in these patterns and then people are stubborn and don't want to change. It's hard enough to change in adulthood, just because we're not only having to learn new patterns, but we're also having to unlearn the patterns from before. And so the sooner that we're able to intervene and change some of those things, the better outcomes that we have for success. So I absolutely think that couples should pursue premarital counseling and have a check-in throughout their relationship. Whether you choose to do that with a professional or not is your choice. Some people, after a few years, may get the tools down, right? And feel like we can have this conversation on our own. But I think it's important still to have that check-in. Maybe you have a check-in with a professional less often. Maybe it's once every 5 years. But you and your partner and you and yourself should still be having this check-in process at least once a year. What's going on with me? How am I feeling? What's happening in the world? And how am I responding to that?
Well, such a great comparison about, your physical, having your annual physical, your dental cleanings or x-rays or what have you. And I even think about, how frequently they'll get a new phone.
Yes. Oh my God, it stopped working. I need a new one.
Need a new phone. Let me just go get a new, or they'll update their phone. It's like, well, let's get an update or check up, on this. Or even people, if you have with your finances, you might meet with your financial planner at least once a year. Can we check in with our mental health? And just to check in, not saying that, like you said, you may not even have anything going, but just checking in. How are you growing?
Yes.
How are you expanding? How have you implemented some of the skills and strategies? Yes. Okay, I think I need to become a client. Talk about an experience that you've had with a client that stretched you. in a way that you didn't think that it would?
Probably when I was working in that residential treatment facility, working with a lot of people who had been through some hard times in their lives, some really significant experiences. I mean, unimaginable traumas that they've been through. And having them come to treatment, seeming to make progress, seeming to be engaged or wanting to make change. And then one day they're just gone, whether they've chosen to walk from treatment or they've been discharged for misbehaving, or unfortunately learning about people overdosing. So it's been definitely a challenge in that environment of people just really rooting for people to change and not seeing that change. I think some other more personal ones have been just times where people themselves were really pushing back on therapy, and it really felt like no matter what I was doing wasn't being helpful to them. I think there's a lot of imposter syndrome feelings that I've had that I think is common among therapists and honestly a lot of professions out there. And so when you're encountering this person who's just not making any progress, you start to question yourself and you're really like, am I doing the right thing? Am I saying the right thing? Am I being helpful? Sometimes it is me. It's a combination always, because we have to be accountable for ourselves, including me. But those are the ones that really stretch me, that I just feel like I'm trying everything and the client's not making any progress. And sometimes it's me in the sense that I'm not the right fit for them. There's a lot of therapists in the world, and that's why people need different things. And so I'm just trying to wrap my head around being the best version of myself and recognizing that doesn't always help people. And that's hard because I want to help everybody.
So how do you recover from that? What do you do to empower and encourage yourself that you are being your best you and doing your best for your clients?
Yeah, I really try to reflect on other therapy experiences that I've had, people that have shared kind feedback. We're not supposed to solicit feedback from clients. It's unethical. I don't do that. I've worked at other jobs where people have chosen to leave feedback. So that's really been validating. And I'll go back and read some of those reviews when I'm having a hard day. Some clients have said things to me upon discharge when I think about, the fact that I feel and am young, but I've been doing this for 8 years, almost a decade at this point in my life. And it's like, wow, I've really been through a lot of different communities and spaces and helped different people, even if they're not fully healed, because none of us really are. We're constantly working on ourselves. But to know that I at least held a little bit of space for somebody, heard them out, provided some validation. And that's also when I turn to my therapy friends to talk about it. And they also give me that same reminder and encouragement.
I love that. I love that. And I appreciate you being so honest and being so transparent with your experiences, because I can't imagine how hard it can be constantly trying to encourage or pull things out of people, or just the questioning so that they can identify what they need to identify and come to their own answers of next steps for themselves. So I applaud the profession. I applaud you and just want to give you your flowers for everything that you're doing to support the community, to reach out to the community, and to be an asset for wraparound services for those people who need it. My hope for you is that you will be like Apple. Give the people what they want and they don't even know that they need it.
That's right. Just dropping new stuff every day.
Just drop it, I needed that. I didn't even realize. Thank you, Dr. Alysha. That's what I hope for you. Mm-hmm. So looking back on your career, looking back on everything that you've experienced, what would you do to tell the younger version of yourself to prepare for the Dr. Alysha with her practice today?
Wow. I would probably tell my younger self to, don't be afraid to keep going and to ask for help. I think there are some times that I was trying to do things on my own. I'm a proud Black woman. I'm trying to persevere through all of it. And it's a great quality to have. But there are times where I probably could have used some more support. So just encouraging my younger self to ask for help sooner than later. Yeah.
I like that. And now looking ahead, my dear, with all you've accomplished so far, nearly a decade in the game, working with diverse populations, diverse needs and all that. What is it that you need looking ahead, and what is it that you want?
What I want is to continue helping to destigmatize mental health in communities of color, to keep having these conversations, to enter spaces and do more workshops and trainings about just mental health in general and empowering people and connecting resources. I guess I need opportunity to do those things. I'm willing to do them in as many spaces as possible, right? I'm willing to do some of them for free. I'd love to do some of them for pay as well. But the reality is I want to help people. And so that really does fulfill me, knowing that I'm giving back, that I'm sharing knowledge, knowing that there's people out there that still don't know therapy exists, or that it's a safe space, or that there are people like us that look like us that are in that space and willing to be a sounding board for others.
Oh, I love it. So the Empowerment Clinic, how can you be contacted? What is your email, your website, your social media handles? Tell us what it is so we can make sure we put it here on the gift table.
Yes. So I do have a website, dralysha.com, Alysha. Make sure you spell it right. I have a Psychology Today profile if you would like to look me up on there. I don't have a phone number because I'm working all day. My email is it's Dr. Alysha, so ITSDRALYSHA @gmail.com. I'm scheduling clients through the Grow Therapy platform. That's a website that you can also search. So you can search me on Grow Therapy. I am taking insurance. I accept Kaiser Northern California. We're working on SoCal. I take Anthem, Aetna, Optum, Carelon. I also take cash. My cash rate is $200 for couples and $150 for individuals. But I am willing to be flexible, right? If you have a need, talk about it. Let's discuss it. I'm not willing to go below $100 because I do still have to get paid, right? I'm financing my own life over here.
Like, girl, you better keep those rates.
Yes. But truly, if somebody is really in need, we'll help you out for free for sessions. We'll talk about referrals. I'll help you find somebody else to have some more long-term care. You're welcome to email me for workshops, for individual work, for group work. Any request that anybody has, please send me an email. I'm willing to collaborate in as many areas as possible.
Yeah. And I would just like to plug that if there are any organizations, schools, people who work with teenagers or young people, she's an amazing, amazing speaker. So please, reach out to Dr. Alysha Thomas if you want her to speak to groups, students as well, to kind of, especially those who might be getting ready to go to college or transitioning from one, level to the next. Great opportunity for you to hire her as a paid speaker to come to your organization to speak to your young people, those who are in college, higher education. Please reach out to Dr. Alysha. Well, my soror, my friend, it has been my pleasure having you here at the Gifted Table. Thank you for sprinkling all your gifts right here at the table. You've left some gems for the people to pick up. I hope they brought their grocery bag so they can just go ahead and fill it up.
I hope so too. Thank you so much for having me. This has been such a joy to be on here and have such a fluid conversation about something that's really near and dear to my heart. So keep empowering your mental health, everybody.
Yes. And do know this might be your first, but definitely not your last time on the Gifted Table, because I really feel that we need to do a live and just have like people call, talk in, or whatever. We're going to figure this thing out. But I am so blessed to have had you on here. We will have all of her information posted in the description right here for this episode of the Gifted Table. But it's Dr. Alysha at gmail.com if you would like to email her. So please do so. And thank you all for taking your seat today at the Gifted Table. It is always my blessing that you've taken time. Please give this video a big thumbs up. And again, don't forget to subscribe if you're not already a subscriber. And make sure you click on the bell to get notified when episodes are posted here at the Gifted Table. And as always, everyone, remember, stay grounded, innovative, fierce, transparent every day. In other words, stay gifted. I'll see you next time.